Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. This is a daily webinar we do in our group every single day, 5 days a week, and every single day of the year, right? So for YouTubers, you will be seeing this video. You see it once a week, every Monday I do it. So we share the Monday videos with you. What I want you to know is that whatever we are sharing with you today might not be very much actual tomorrow because these are daily webinars. We do them every day. We also update the patterns and the webinars we do on a regular basis in our group, which means we have 3, 4, 5 sessions a day in our trading room, which means that what I show you now as a pattern that might be forming in a 1 hour could change within the next 4, 5, 6 hours, or it could complete itself and turn in the opposite direction depending on what the 4 hour and the daily structure will be doing. So here is a good example of that. This is an example. This is not it. So we were looking at this and we said, okay, we have 1, 2, 3. This should fall. So if you were in my group at any one time, I would say you look for a sell setup here. And that did become a sell setup, which became a break-even trade. And then we sold this one. We thought this one was going to fall, which became a break-even trade or a small profit. And then we sold this one. This one is the one we're in now. And that is a break-even, which means this trade would either become a break-even trade or it is the one that is going to fall. At some point, this thing is going to fall. Structures like these break. So at some point, this one is going to drop through the bottom here and maybe even drop through the bigger structure or go back up from here. If it makes a new high, we will sell it again. So that you understand that these structures work. If you understand wave analysis, they work. But we start by making a simple structure, which moves to a more complex structure. Now, if you're not a wave trader, you'll definitely not understand what I just said. Look at some more of my videos, try to understand the concept of wave analysis. And if you like what you see there and you would like to join us as a group, send me a message, check in the descriptions. And all the descriptions, you're going to find my contact point. Use Skype as the contact point. There's Facebook and email and all kinds of stuff there. Use Skype. That's the fastest and the safest way for you to contact me if you would like to learn this stuff. So let's go. Dollar index. I'm going to try to go really fast. So if you can't follow, you will stop and rewind. Dollar index. We're coming up to the top, and I don't think we're looking for a buy. We're actually wanted to break the top and then look for a sell setup. We're in a corrective structure. What that means? That means at some point in time, this starts to go back down. It could break this top and then go down. It could break this top and then go down. So while it's trying to break this top, I'm not interested in that buy because that buy doesn't have a good risk to reward in it, which means we knew this was going to break the top, but it's going up really slow. So I'd like them to break the top and I look for a sell setup. It doesn't mean that this sell would be the one that goes, but it's going to likely come back to the low here. If they're going to continue to go up, we look for a buy setup above the top. Now, I think there was a question on YouTube once. You keep saying buy setup, sell setup. What are these setups you're talking about? And that's a very good question. So what I'm showing you in here is called analysis. If you're a trader, and if you are a trader, you would know that trading is broken up into a few parts. The first thing you should do is the analysis. The second thing you should do is your strategy. I'll put that Steve for that strategy. The third thing you should do is money management. And the fourth thing you should do is management of trades. What does this mean? What I'm giving you here today is the analysis. Sense of direction, where I think this thing is going to go. And then you would have a strategy of how you're going to trade it if it goes that way. So if I tell you I think euro is going to go up, you have to have a strategy of how you're going to enter, where you're going to enter, when you're going to enter, what are the criteria for your entry, what is it? And then you would have to have a money management, how much you're going to risk in that trade. What's your risk to reward in the trade? Right? That's your money management part of it. And then you would have to manage the trade, not because it's going up. And even if you got tagged, and even if you are in the money and you're in the profit of the trade, how do you exit that trade? When do you exit? What changes you're seeing in structure? Should you stay with the trade for a longer move? Should you take the profit at this point? So if you're not doing any one of those, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if you're right every time about the analysis. You're still going to lose. If you're missing any one of those 4 factors in your trading, you'll get yourself in trouble. You could just guess your way and click a buy right now, and you might be in the money within the next 10 minutes. But if you put the wrong money management, you could be losing your account in another 10 minutes if it starts to go against you. And if you don't know how to manage a trade, you could take a winning trade and turn it into a losing trade. So you must know all these things. What I'm giving you here is strictly analysis. It has nothing to do with the other 3 parts. The other 3 parts is what I give to my traders in the trading room, what we do on a daily basis. That's what we do in our trading room. Manage trades, take trades, manage trades on a daily basis 5 times a day. So that's how often we get into the charts. So what I'm going to give you now is what I think the chart will do based on wave analysis. This will work its way up. We will be looking for a sell setup. If we don't get the sell setup above here, this thing makes a consolidation. I'll consider the buy to break this top. And when it breaks that up, I'll definitely exit the trade, because after that, we're definitely going to get a correction or a downside. You're in a big correction on the higher time frame. If you understand patterns and the way they behave, and you should do that if you want to be a good, successful trader, is that we're in a consolidation. It's not a trending mode. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down until they complete a pattern, and then they go. We have an incomplete pattern at the moment, which means we don't have a pattern. We have parts and pieces of a pattern that is eventually going to form. It might be complex, it might be simple, but we still don't have a pattern as yet. And we have enough reasons in the chart to tell us that this move up here is about to finish and go down. That's what we do. We do forecasting. We tell you where the chart is going to go before it goes there. Way before it goes there. And we can tell you that a week before, a month before, depends on what time frame we're looking at, what the structure would look like. And once it behaves that way, how you're going to take advantage of that. Let's go. Silver. If you go back and look at all my webinar, I've been telling you silver needs to break this low, because this is a corrective structure. And regardless of what you think of it, this thing cannot be the one that goes up. 1 second, guys. That's a trader trying to call me. I have no idea why he thinks he can just dial me like that in the middle of nowhere. Really strange people. Anyway, let's go. Sorry about that. See why you should make appointments with people before you call them, because they could be in the middle of something and you dial them. That's really weird. People dial me 2 in the morning sometimes. That's why I mute my computer when I go to sleep. My phone and everything gets muted. So let's go. This is a big corrective structure. The entire structure is a big corrective structure in the daily, and it's incomplete at the moment. At one point in time, it looks like this was a running flat. But at present, that might change. And this is one of the things you would understand about wave analysis. It starts with a simple structure that could eventually become a very complex structure. You have an impulse, then you get 1, 2, 3. That's the first basic structure you're going to have. You get another 1, 2, 3. It means you're getting another 1, 2, 3. That's the second basic structure you have. You get another 1, 2, 3 up here. You get another 1, 2, 3 down there, another 1, 2, 3. That's the third basic structure you can have. All these are basic structures. All in all, you're going to have is 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to go up. It does not change the analysis of where the structure will go. What it changes is the pattern that you make inside of the correction. It becomes from a simple to a complex pattern. And that is what we do on a daily basis, understanding what pattern it's making right now. Is it a simple one? Can we trade the simple one? Most times, if you take the very simple one that is going to go, you still make money. Even if it doesn't go, because it still has to go in that direction to create the second 3 wave. So when we thought this was going to go down, we were right about it. When we thought it could stop here and go back, we were right about it. But it's not the one that is going out. So we're making a more complex pattern. How complex this can be? Well, that could take you 3, 4 years complexity. It could stay here for a long time. So we would trade every little bits and pieces we can find in it. And one of the trade we took last week was the sell to the downside, because we saw the pattern. And if you remember last week, I said you get a correction, look for a sell setup. It's going, it will break the low, and now you have to exit the trade or move your stops very tight. There's a high probability that we're looking at a more complex pattern that would either come here in a single wave and drop once more, come here in a 3-wave structure, drop once more, or totally take off to the upside. Those are the three options. But in all three of those options, the upside is the first impulse. So what we would be looking for is a turning point here today. Make an impulse, make a flag, and we'll look for a buy setup. That is how we will implement this strategy. Can it go down a little more? Yes. It's the risk to reward is very small. It's no good for the sell anymore. But if you get a really good flag here, yeah, you can consider one more drop before it goes back up. Right? Now, what if it makes another flag? Consider one more drop before it goes back up. And every flag you get after that will be a single drop before it goes back up. It will go back up. So I'm not expecting it to do that. I'm expecting it to go up today, maybe, or tomorrow. We'll see. If they make a flag here, you will not get a trade for a sell today. You most likely get a sell tomorrow or the day after, but the buy you can actually get today. So let's see if we get a buy setup. Gold is more likely to give you a sell than a buy. You're getting a flag right now here. So this could be a short-term sell setup, and this short-term sell setup could bring you back to retest the low. Not necessarily it's going to do that, but it could do that. So you can take this sell and we'll see how far that takes us. We don't have a buy setup on gold at the moment. Can that change? Absolutely. If this actually breaks here and doesn't go and go back up, we might look at this as a corrective structure for one more up. We don't have a buy setup, and we wouldn't get a buy setup today. It might be tomorrow. Now, you are not going to have my update tomorrow. Only my traders get that. If that is something you would like to get, send me a Skype message. So let's look at this. That's a sell for today. Euro still in the sideways. We broke the low. It didn't go up. We bought here. We expect this to go up. Get out of the trade. It's making consolidations. This is not going up either. There's a buy setup here forming, but that is likely going to be within either a bigger flat here or just one more up there and then come down. No trade setups here is worth taking. Not at the moment. Not the buy, not the sell, because they're not going anywhere very far as yet. We're still in consolidation. Even if this goes up, it's going to be part of a bigger flat forming. I don't see this taking off like a rocket. Is there a risk to reward in the trade you can get if you take it? Maybe if you see a good risk to reward, you could probably take the trade for the upside. Watch it when it comes to this stop, because I don't think it's going to break out of the entire structure. But it might be worth the buy if you can get out of it, I don't know, for 20 pips maybe. Right? If you have that skill level to get in and get out really fast, great. If not, leave it alone. Pang. We're coming down, but this will not be the downside because this is a big flat. This is the most corrective part of that structure, which means we are still in the correction. And I wouldn't be surprised if this actually goes back and make a new high within this pattern. So if we get an impulse and a flag here, we'll buy this, just like this buy here. We'll buy it back to the top, and then we'll look for a sell setup. So what if I'm wrong about that? It doesn't matter that you got a big correction. And what if they're falling? Well, we need a flag here. And if we get this, then we'll sell. Most likely it's upside. So you see now, this is telling us we're still in the consolidation. Eventually, this is going to go down, but they're still in the consolidation. So before the week's end, before this week ends, if you're watching this webinar, I don't know, Friday, you might either see a flag here and we're in the sell, or you might see us buying it to the top, come back, maybe go back there and then drop. That's how much different trades we could get by the end of the week. That's how the structure could change by the end of the week. Which one will it be? We'll see. We don't have anything right now. If we get a flag here, it will be a sell. If we get an impulse and a flag, it's a buy. I'm more inclined to believe it's going to be an impulse and a flag, and there are many reasons in the chart why we think that is highly probable. I just can't explain all of that to you right now. That's a long process. Aussie, still going down. If you get flags, you can sell, but you have to be careful. Every sell could be the last sell right now for the next move up. Right? Every sell in this could be the last sell before you start to go back up. The up move will definitely not be the impulse to the upside, because I still don't think that is all the correction. We'll probably make a running flat, go down some more, and then come back up. By that, I mean this one is going to eventually stop where it is, go back up there, come back here, and then go. That will be a simple running flat here, if they make a simple running flat. So if we get buy setups here during this week, we'll take it. Sell setups should have to be very cautious. You can take them, but at any one time, it could be the very last sell you're getting, last impulse to the downside before it go back. We do have a lot of divergence, and that's kind of warning sign. Divergence is not tradable. You don't trade divergence. You just get it as a warning sign that whatever you're in is about to end. New Zealand, very similar structure. You can look for buy setups here, where you could realize we're already looking for a buy setup back to the top. The chances are this one will not break out. We'll still take the trade if we get the trade. It's going to come back here and then go. New Zealand looks upside. Euro and Pound and Aussie doesn't look upside as yet, but it's possible they can still turn. Let's see if we get a trade in New Zealand to the upside. Not the best setup as yet. We don't have a setup. We're just waiting for that setup to happen. Swiss, we do have a buy setup. If this comes back here, we're looking for an upside in this trade. How far? Well, we'll first look at this stop, see what happens when they come back to this level. It can either totally break out, or they can, especially if they consolidate here longer, then we will not take the trade to the top. We'll just take it to this level and down again. If it stays here and they break out, we're likely going to break through that top. So it depends on how this consolidation behaves for the next couple hours within the next day. It will tell us whether we're making a flat or whether we're making a flag for the upside. Now, if you're not aware what the difference between those two and why we look at structure that way, again, go watch my webinar, especially if you're seeing this for the first time. CAD, upside, buy. If you get another buy setup, buy it. Every buy setup you get on the CAD, you should take it, and you should move. As for now, every buy setup you take, you should move to positive. Because this impulse is a daily impulse that is about to come to an end, which means this impulse will end. We'll get a correction, and then we'll continue to go. Now, how far can this go before you actually get a correction? No one knows. There is no specific level how far it has to go. But what you do is you look into this impulse and see when it's about to end. And I can tell you that that is about to end. We have divergence in the 4. We have divergence in the 1 hour. There's a good chance that this thing is going to end very soon and go into a daily correction before you get the next daily up move. Now, that might be a little complex or if you're not a wave analysis trader. What that means is that you're going to get a sharp impulse down, a long drawn out correction, another sharp impulse down, and then that thing could take about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Up to a month, you can go into correction before you actually get the next impulse up. So every buy you have here, and these are buy setups that they've said you should take. You take this buy. If you get we actually took that trade. If you get another correction, take the trade, another correction, take. But every one you need to move into profit. Because this could drop very sharp, start to make corrections, go there. It's going to be a daily correction. So it could be here for a very long time. Be careful. This thing, it's not going to go up forever. It could still go some more, even though we have divergence, but very soon you could start to see a correction happening. Not a down move. We're not retesting that low. We're going into correction very soon. Yen, downside, perfect. We're in the sell, and we expect it to go down more. I think yen is going to come to this level before we go back up. We're looking for a running flat there. We've already started the impulse here. You got an impulse, you're getting a big running flat, and then you could go for another impulse. That is if it is only a simple running flat. If this remains a simple running flat, great. We're expecting it to come somewhere here and then go. We'll look for sell setups. There was a number of sell setups we had already, and we keep looking for sell setups, and you might get a few trades, small-term, short-term trades. They're consolidating now. I don't like the fact that this one is consolidating. In that, there's a reason for that. When that happens, you end up getting much bigger flats like this, and then you go. Now, I hope this dropped today, because if that dropped, this would be a very small flag, and that means this could continue to go. So we're actually looking for sell setups. You're in the consolidation zone, which means it can still consolidate more. Euro yen, all yen pairs might be starting the downside. We don't know that as yet, but very likely that they are starting the downside. The euro yen is a problem because this one is very sharp. So I'm not looking at this as a running flat as such, which means I think there is a possibility that euro yen might come back to this stop here before they go make a bigger flat like this. That is very probable. If that doesn't happen, then what I would be looking at the lower time frame is to see, well, what if we've completed this as a running flat? Which could be possible, because both of those could be true at the same time. That is a running flat, or this is a running flat. Both of them look very possible as patterns. So what I need to see is what it does here. If this thing makes a flat here by going to this level and then drop, we will sell. At this level here, we're going to be selling. If it goes up here and make a flag, I'll be buying it to the top for the bigger running flat. Once that is completed, we will go down because this is starting a downtrend. All euro, all yen pairs, I think I showed you them in all my webinars. Watch what they're going to do. You're going to expect these step by step. CAD yen, same thing. If we get flag here, you sell. This could be the running flat. If not, they'll go back up, make one more here, and that would be the running flat. Now, I think CAD yen might be in the running flat, so we would look for flags and sell setup. Pound yen, definitely look for flags and sell setup because this definitely looks like the running flat. And that means we're likely going to go down more if we get flags. Aussie yen, this one is kind of a fish. It's not the perfect running flat, but if you get sell setups, go for it. If they do go back up to the top like this, we'll consider a bigger running flat maybe. Let's see. We don't have any buy setup, that's for sure, but we can look for sell setups, which means if this goes sideways and we get a flag like this or a correction or anything, we will sell it. We don't have a buy setup. The buy setup will come. The low is broken, so if they want to go back now, they can go up for one more impulse up. We'll have to wait for the impulse, wait for the flag, and then buy. New Zealand, it's corrective. It's going to go down more. This is still in the correction. This part is not an impulse, so we don't have a running flat. This would eventually either go back up there and drop or drop right now. So look for sell setups in it. Swiss yen, we're already in the sell on this one. This could definitely be a contracting flat. So two things I told you about the Swiss yen, and you want to focus on the Swiss yen. Swiss yen is the only one that has a simple impulse down and it's having a correction. That's a sell setup. When you see that, you're thinking sell setup, not buy, but sell setups. So let's go back to the 4 hour. Is it actually going to go down? What if they're making a more complex pattern? Well, so far, this looks like a very nice contracting flat. Contracting flats are difficult because they can become running flats. Can this one actually go back up there and make more complex patterns? That is possible. I don't think they're going to do that, but it's quite possible that it could become a more long drawn out possible pattern for even one more up. On the 1 hour, if you get flags, you sell. So we're already in the sell. It's already at break even, which means if this goes back up, no problem, we'll still look for sell setups. The only time we look for a buy setup is if this goes right back up here, make a flag, and then we'll consider upside. That means that this is no longer a contracting flat, but it will become an expanding flat. If you come and you break this top and you break the other top, it will be an expanding flat. It's kind of rare pattern, but it could happen. So I still think we'll be looking for sell setups. We look for a flag and sell setups. If they make flags, we sell it. We sold this one, and if we make another flag, I will sell again. Aussie CAD. It should come down a little more, and then it's going to be a buy setup. This here needs to come a little more here, and then we're looking for a buy setup. I don't think we want the sell. You're getting a flat in here, which is, well, not uncommon. You had a big one here. You had a small one here. So you could get one of that, watch it come here, then we're looking for the big move to the upside. Could it be they're starting from this point? Not necessarily. We'll see. Is it a running flat? Let's see if we broke the top. No, we didn't. So it's a regular flat. Let it come down some more, then we'll look for the trade. New Zealand CAD is already going up. Your buy setup was here. You can still buy. I don't think you want to buy it now. You want to wait for it to come down a little more and then buy because you've got an impulse here. You're getting a correction here. You'll probably get another one down and then go. That should give you a buy setup. Right? Let's see if it gives us that. CAD Swiss. Okay, this is not working. I need to change it. All the FXCM charts for some reason not working this morning in TradingView. You just have to change it to another one. And that should work. Yep. Okay, so let's go to one. Yep. It's going down and it probably could go some more. All right, let's see the big picture where we are. Yeah, you could go some more. You may or may not break this low. And after that, you can look for upside. Right? So we kind of get that, guys. Okay, good. Yeah, so watch this. This can actually go here and then probably look for upside. Whereas this is still the B part of the structure. So even if you break the low, you're likely going to go back up for another one there. Right? So let's go to the 1 hour. And yeah, this is likely going to go some more. And we look for the turning point. You probably don't want to sell it at this point here. Wait for it to turn. That's the best trade. The risk to reward is better on the upside. Euros. Okay, so we make a new high. That's expected. When we had that flag last week, we said, okay, you can buy it to break the top. That's about all you want. Once it breaks the top, you take profit. Because from that point, we're in FXCM. This thing might have changed already. This is not going to be this is going to be a long webinar if I have to change all of them. I probably should have done that earlier because I didn't change all. I didn't know how much of them I have in FXCM. Okay, let's go. I'll try to get everything changed. This is a nuisance. Sorry about that, guys. Especially if you're on YouTube, you're wondering what happened. There's a problem with the trading platform, with the charting platform, sorry. So I'll have to redo this chart because I have no lines in it. So let me go to the 4-hour very quick, show you what we have. You get a chance to see how it's done. We're in this move up. That's a corrective structure going up there. See that? And we're at the top of the correction. We're pretty much at the top of the correction. So what we'll be looking for is sell setup. Last week we bought this. We bought this on this flag. There was a flag here for a buy. That buy was to break this top. It broke the top. If you get sell setups, we'll definitely be selling it. My traders need to keep an eye on this. We probably will get a sell setup really fast. And if you're an aggressive trader, you might be in the sell already. Right? So if not, wait for the 1 hour. We'll go for the sell. Let it confirm if you missed that. If you missed the first one, wait for the second one. We'll get the trade to the downside. And this is a very big move to the downside. So if we get the sell set up, we'll definitely take it. Eurocad. Oh my, not this again. Okay, sorry guys, I have to change them all. I was hoping more of them are not from FXCM. Good, let's go. Eurocad. Yep, Eurocad is at the top. Let's see what the biggest structure is. I have nothing on this. It's still going up, but I don't think we're in the uptrend as yet, right? This had a very deep correction. There is a big move to the upside in the Eurocad, but rarely you find them starting with such a deep correction. If it is starting with such a deep correction, we need to wait for a correction here, right? Wait for a flag and then take the trade, especially since you're above that top. If this thing wants to drop, this is the point from where we can drop. And I mean really drop if they're going to drop from here, right? So if you're going to buy this, wait for this to make a correction and then go for the buy. Take one trade at a time. Don't keep it for long term as yet. If it drops, we will definitely sell it to break the low, which means you don't have a sell setup, but it could drop from this point. This looks very corrective. Rarely you see the impulse to the upside starts like this. There is a daily impulse to come, which I just don't think this is the start of it. It will have to prove that this is the start of the daily impulse because you'll have to have a big correction here before we start getting into buys. Not a big one, a flag. Euro New Zealand. Okay, good. This is not the one. You're probably going to get downside here and you might look for the sell setup. You can see there's a sell setup here, which means you're going to have a bigger flat here before you go down, right? This is likely going to come here, maybe go back up and then drop like that. So you can get a sell setup in this trade. When it comes to this level, we'll see whether we go back up from that point. See, from this point, I think we can go back up. So there might be a trade to the downside here if you manage to get it. And then we're looking for the upside because this still looks like a bigger correction. We'll figure it out when we go. We'll see what it's doing. I don't think the downside has started as yet. Right? If it is starting the downside, you would be in the sell. If they break through the structure, good for us. But I think we're still in the corrective structure to the upside. So let's see. It's a very complex corrective structure. And this one didn't break the top. So we're definitely going back one more to this top at least. Euro Swiss, it's a buy setup. This is the best buy setup you probably want. So I'm going to give you guys a gift. I'm going to show you what the trade is. So even if you're not a wave analysis trader and you're deciding that you want to try this, this would be the best one to go for your try first. So the way we look at it is this is a corrective structure coming down. And we should at least get a move back to the top there. So even if this thing is going to drop after that, you get a move back to the top there. If this is a corrective structure, when they come to this level, they can drop. If it is the start of a big impulse from this level, we'll just continue to go. But there's a trade back to the top there. That's a very, very big move. So you go to the 4 hour and we're looking at it when it comes, every time they break the low, they make a new high. See, we broke the low, we go up, we broke the low, we go up, we broke the low, we go up, we broke the low. Guess what? We're making an up move. So if you're following me, remember we said this is going to make a flat, it's going to break the low and then turn. Well, they break the low, they turn, and they're making a correction here. That correction is incomplete at the moment. Which means you're likely going to have an up move, you're going to have a down move, and then you're going to go. You can put an entry order here, but you have to put a stop way under the low here. I'm not making a trade call for you. I'm telling you how we would trade it. We put a stop here, we put an entry order here for the big move to the upside. If we get a better complete setup, we'll probably change the strategy for that, which means the stop will be somewhere else, the entry will be somewhere else, but the move is the same direction. So depending on how this develops, we will change the strategy of how we're going to trade it. And that's where strategy comes in. Right, as it stands right now, we have an entry order here with a stop here. If we get this move, that level, and come back here and we get a buy setup here, we'll buy it from this level with a stop here or with a stop here. That depending on what pattern we have and how we see it. If it comes here and make a flag and we get a trade from here, we'll definitely take this trade with a stop here. There's a number of ways we're going to get into this trade. So if you don't have your own strategy, don't try to do what I just showed you, because you would not know what the criteria are at any moment of taking the trade and how you're going to manage it. So we're looking for a buy setup. Europound. We did break the low, and last week I told you we wanted to break the low, and then we're looking for the upside. So we're looking for the upside here now. I don't think the upside is ready to go. We have a sharp move here. We got a flat in here. We can do this. We'll probably come back here and then we'll go. If this becomes a running flat, that's a buy setup. That's a perfect buy setup for that matter of fact. We're in FXCM, so I don't know if that is already gone. Got to change this too. Sorry about that. This will make the webinar a little longer than expected, but that's not my fault. I'll have to change all of them. Yeah. So it's not really gone very far. We're still expecting this to come back here and then go. You saw the structure there, so I'm not going to go do all the lines here because that would take a long time. Pound New Zealand. Okay, so we're in a corrective structure. We're expecting this to come down here. If you're in the sell, you're on it, but we're expecting this to come here, and then we can either go there and come back here and then go, or go here and totally go out. So there's a very good chance we're going to make one more high. Again, I'm an FXCM, so I don't know whether this is already finished, whether they gap down here already and go back up, but we're pretty much somewhere close to that. Let me add another simple. Great British Pound, NZD. There's a Pound New Zealand. Let's choose the one and see where we are in the structure. You see the pattern, right? So I'll just, the whole structure, I'll just put it for the last piece. We're looking at this very last piece here. That is this whole move up. It's a Pound New Zealand, right? They're not very similar. Okay, this is on the 1 hour. Let's put this on the 1 hour and see where we are. But this is where we are, yeah. This, I don't think that wick is real. It doesn't exist. That's a problem. Some of these trade pattern charts have some unnecessary thing on it. That wick is not there because it's a no other chart except this one. So at some point in time, this here could be come back here and go back up for one more high. We'll probably make a new high and then the downside. So keep an eye on it. It's coming down right now. This is not the correct line too. We'll take a long time to go find the correct line, so we'll leave it. This is coming down. There's a sell setup to retest the slope. And after that, there's a high probability of it going back up. So we'll see what happens to that. Pound upside, there's a buy setup, and you can look for that. Every consolidation you get will be a buy setup. We're coming back to this top. We're going back to that top, and from there, we'll get a downside. So if you're following me for like a year now, which is starting from this point, that is from November, you should go back. If you haven't been following me the first time you look, just go back to all my webinars. Look at only this Pound CAD one. And you would see the forecast we make for that move up. You would see the forecast we make for this move up. You would see the forecast we make for that move up. And you would see the forecast for this move down. And well, if you want to understand how wave analysis works, you could track it. And you would find that each one of these moves actually were forecast before they happened. And then if you're a trader who believes that the market is moved because of the news that happens in the market, you might be surprised. And you might even learn a few things that that's not so. The market does move during the news event, but it's not because of the news. They're not using the news to move the market. It's not the news that is moving. It's a moment that they're being used to move the market, which means it's pre-planned, waiting for a moment to execute. It's a moment of execution. It's not a moment of why it moves. Now, you might say this is crazy and it sounds crazy, right? Well, you can only say it's crazy if I make these forecasts and they don't work. If I can forecast the up move and the down move a month or two before it happened, then it's either I know what's going to happen, I know the future, I know what news is going to come out, which I wish I did. I don't. I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm going to have for lunch today. I can't see farther than my nose, but I understand wave analysis and I understand how patterns develop, regardless of what the news is going to be. Now, that's going to be something hard for you to swallow if you're a news trader. You're not going to believe that. You're going to say, well, this is crazy stuff. Well, I want you to go back and look at all the forecasts I made in the past. Go back and look at most of them. Some of them a little extended, some of them patterns change, but the forecasts themselves are perfect. They work. Even if it didn't develop the pattern we were forecasting, the structural forecast is there. And that's because that's what the market does. They're telling you what they're going to do if you're looking at what they're doing. Forget about what the news says they're telling you they want to do. Look at what they're doing. And if you look at what the market is doing, the market is telling you what it is going to do. It's preparing to do a certain thing. No one wakes up, no big investor, no big bank, no big investment company, no government wakes up the next morning and says, oh my God, did you hear this guy said that? We should all sell or we should all buy. No, because that guy, whoever he is unimportant to the general market. He has no clue. Be it the Fed, be it the government, be it the president of a country. They can't move the market. They could create a little disturbance that might be a very small spike within these, like these little spikes here now and then. But structurally, they can't move the market. If they could have, then all the US president will do is talk all day to make the market go up for them. All they're going to do is they're going to be the best. They just keep talking and make money. Why have $21 trillion in debt if you can talk your way out of it? You can't. Common sense tell you you can't, right? Because you owe 21 trillion to the world, to yourself, maybe most of it, but it's not possible. Just think, you put on your common sense for a second. And if any one of any of these big guys could talk their way out of it, that's all they will do. You just hire a guy, put him in a position and let him talk the whole day. Let him just keep talking so you can make money. That's the biggest BS that is being sold to traders, small traders, and they believe it. They swallow it because they don't understand what the market is doing. The market is telling you what it's going to do, regardless of what they say they're doing. Look at it. Study the structures. You'll understand. Sometimes it's a little complicated. It's a little complex, I should say, in how the patterns behave, like this one. We knew this was going to go up. We just couldn't figure out what complex pattern is going to develop here immediately because we had a simple pattern and that one didn't go. Then we figure out that, wait, it's a more complex pattern. Let's just wait until it becomes complex. And then you would watch this go back to the top there. Buy it all the way to the top. Those are buy setups. Pangos. This one is a corrective structure. It's still going up some more. Yep, we could probably go up some more. It's eventually going to drop. How far high this is going to go? Well, we'll see. You can take, I'm not buying the pound. Once if I have to buy, by the way, this is FXM again. It's not changing the structure. It's just that little piece there for the 3 hours or 4 hours. You're going to see change in the market. So it's not affecting the structure as well. Sorry about that, guys. Let's go back to it. Yep. This doesn't exist. That's the next problem. I'm changing to one that has some real crazy thing on it that doesn't exist. That week doesn't exist. Ignore it. We want the 1 hour only here today, and that is pretty real, right? So this could go up some more. I think literally we can see that this is a flat, and this one is going to go up some more. It keeps going up, but it's not going very far. So even if you get a buy, it's probably going to do this. It's going to come back down. They can do this for a while before it drops. The more they do this, the easier the sell becomes for us. The buy, you can take buys, you can get small profit, get in, get out, but I'm more keen on getting this sell. Let it go up some more. I'll buy the pound CAD. I know pound CAD is going to go up, so I'll rather buy the pound CAD rather than the pound Aus. When the sell comes, I'm going to be selling the pound Aus. Pound Swiss, it's kind of going sideways. Right now, you can see the big sideways here. we did break the low, so we can expect some more upside in this, but it's not really going up as an impulse, which means we're still probably in the correction. You can take this out because I don't think they're going to do that. There is a chance that we get a buy setup here today, but it's only to retest this top. We can't say for sure that this is going to be the big move up. When they break the top, we'll see if we get a correction to continue up or whether they're going to come back down here as a bigger running flat. That possibility still exists. Now, what we look for today is more upside in it. Right? We don't have the upside here, but we'll keep an eye on it. It's not the best buy setup. It's not even the best sell setup. You don't have anything in it right now. It's just going sideways. We can put this here and assume that they're making a bigger flat than this one rather than the expanding flat there. So let's wait and see if you get a buy setup here today. Aussie, New Zealand, it's a sell. And you can actually start selling it now because they're moving faster than when they were going up slowly. So if you get flags, you can sell. Aussie, Swiss. Okay, so we broke the low. And all Swiss pairs have this deep correction in them. Right? So if this comes back here, you could get a flat and you could get one more down, or they could totally go back to the top because we broke the low. So if we get a buy setup, we'll take it for a flat and then we'll watch it to see if it comes all the way back to the top. Once the low is broken, if you get a buy setup, you can take. What if you get a sell setup here? It's very short term. If you want to sell it, let it come back to this stop here and then give you a sell setup. That would be a better sell setup. Right? So we look for a buy setup at this level, hope that it goes higher and then break out. But if it stops here in turn, we get out of this trade and we look for a sell setup from there going down. New Zealand, Swiss. This is definitely going to drop one more because you can see the corrective nature of this. It's going to probably go up here, do this, and then you expect downside. So we're going to have a few more upsides, but they're short-term trades. I think this could go up some more, but short-term. But once you get a sell setup, you should take it. Any sell setup that comes, we're going to take. The buy setup, you could buy, but it's short-term trade. Better to buy the pound Swiss or something else that has a longer-term upside, Euro Swiss or something. Euro Swiss is a better buy. Dollar Swiss is a better buy than the New Zealand Swiss. Okay, I hope you're buying this one because we showed you this and we showed you the upside. So if you get a flag buy, the buy was from the bottom. I think some of my traders trade this and there was a running or expanding flat there for the buy. If you get another flat there, buy. When it break the top, you put it to positive and see how far it goes. Copper. If I missed any of it, FXCM chart, you just put it on, changed it from FXCM and see what the structure is lately. I don't want to go change every one of them. Copper is going sideways, which means we're still going to be in this sideways consolidation here. It could probably come back here and go back up there. This is going to be a bigger flat. I think there's a bigger flat forming here. I don't think we're going. So you can expect some downside here, but that is within the B wave structure. So you're going to get an impulse here. You're going to get, I think this would become a bigger flat here. Drop to this level, go back up, make a three-wave structure like this, 1, 2, 3, and then go down. So you're just making a bigger correction here for downside. UK oil. Okay, we're in a sideways move and it's going down. Likely it's going to come here. So two things you need to be careful with here. One is that we're still in the correction, which means this could go back up, make a new high and then drop. It could come back to this level, make a bigger flat and then drop. Those are two ways you could look at it. If you get a buy setup, you will take it for either of those two. But what if it doesn't go back up? What if it actually stops here and make a flag like this? We're totally selling it. Any flag you get under here is a sell setup. You go for it. Why would you go for the sell? Well, then this will be all the correction. And this thing is going to fall really sharp because in the daily structure and the 4-hour structure, we have divergence quite a lot. So I wouldn't surprise if this becomes a flat, make a new high, then drop, or if they actually drop from here. We're waiting for a setup for a sell or a buy. A setup that will come. We don't have either of those right now. See? We were in the sell already last week, but we don't have either, especially since this comes and when this breaks the low here, you wait for a flag, then you sell. If they reverse, make a flag here, we buy. You're still within a correction. So when this goes, we'll see how fast that drops. And when this goes, we'll see how fast that goes up. And that will depend on whether we keep the trades or whether we take the profit out. Same for US oil. Natural gas going sideways. This is an FXCM1, so that's probably over, but I'm not keen on the natural gas so much. It's just going sideways here within this range. So even if they go up a little, you can come back here to this low and then go. So not much buy or sell setups. Just take any flags in any direction that you get. US 30. Okay. That was our sell setup there. You can see the sell setup breaking the top and then drop. That's the sell. It's going down. How far this could go? Well, we made a new high, so they could go pretty low. So the only question you would have, is this making some bigger correction here for upside, or is this the start of the drop? All you need to know is whether we have a flag here. If we get a flag here in the 1 hour, we continue the selling. If you get a correction here, you need a small correction like this here. That means you continue to sell. This would be the top of the structure, right? What if this is to go back up there? Can we look at this as a possible expanding flat? I think it's possible, but unlikely. So we'd have to have an impulse, a flag, and then we buy. Most likely the sell is what you're looking for. So let's see what happens here today. We'll decide whether we sell it or whether we buy it within the pattern. If this is the start of the downtrend, and it could be the start of a downtrend because there's a lot of divergence, wait for a flag here and sell. DAX, that was a sell last week. I think I gave you that sell. There's a sell going on there and it's coming to this level. When it comes to this level, we'll be careful. I don't think we're going down. I believe we're just going to come to this level and make a new high. So if you're in the sell, good. If you're not in the sell, there's probably one small trade to the downside. Wait for a reversal, wait for a flag buy. What if it breaks through that structure for the downside? It's unlikely. This is very much flat, so we're going to make a new high and then go. If you're in the sell, right? So if it drops through the bottom here and make a flag, well, then we'll probably resell it from here to the downside. But you would have to exit the trade. You have to move your stop and get out of that trade. Because at any point in time, this thing would stop and go back up. It doesn't even have to break this low, right? They don't have to break that low. But not from here. I think we're going to get another drop and then go back up. S&P 500, that was your sell. It wasn't a sell that we called because this was looking very corrective. But it's going down now. So where are we in the bigger structure? Yep, we're probably going to get this now. We still have to get this, right? So if you get a flag here, you get one, you get this, and then we'll complete this pattern. And then upside. So some more downside is likely before you go up. Keep your eyes on it. That could be a trade that you could get. Can we look at this as a possible smaller flat in here? Let's see that in the 1 hour. Yeah, you could look at it as a possible smaller flat for this one. So if they go back up from here, we'll finish this small flat. If not, we'll go with this as an expanding flat. Both of those are possible. So you get a flag here, you sell, it starts to go up. You can look for a buy setup, wait for an impulse, a flag, and buy. One more break the top. Once it breaks the top, you get out of the trade because the downside is going to happen. This is already going down. That's a sell. This is a running flat, which means expect one more up. AU 200, we sold this, put it at break even and wait. So what is going to happen here? I started with this one, telling you how we sell it. The first sell we had was this one. Second sell with this one. This, I think we sold somewhere in here also, break even. Oh, no, we had an entry here that didn't trigger. We got an entry at that trigger. It's a break even. We're keeping that trade because this thing here is going to drop off. So we're putting it to break even and keeping the trade. If they make a new high, if it goes back, make a new high, we sell it again from the top coming down. You get break even in this trade, you sell. This thing is going to drop off. It will drop to this level or maybe much more lower. And the possibility for much more lower is there, which means there can be a very big sell setup here. So I'll give up this little bit for break even if it doesn't go around. If it goes up, okay. If they start to drop, I'm in the trade. Nifty. Yep, it did come down a little, not very much. It went up to the top there. It didn't go all the way to the top. Today's a busy day for me. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. So, yep, it came there. It come here. They could probably go back up. I think this might be the top, so it might come down a little more and then go. We're looking for a running flat here. Right, so a little more down and then we can expect the upside. Let's see if we get that today. Tesla. Okay, this didn't break the top, so we'll have to be careful with the sell setups. We're in a correction here. We're in a big correction, right? There is a chance. Normally, we'd expect it to go down like this, but we didn't break the top, and there's a good chance they might go break that top and then come back. right? And then we'll go back up, we'll get a big running flat. It might be more complex than that, but that is the way I'm looking at it right now. So on the 1 hour, if it consolidates here, we will sell. If they consolidate here, we will sell this. If it goes back up, you might not get the buy, let it make a new high, and then you look for the sell setup, right? The buy might not be something you'll get. Try not to get it. Ignore the buy, look for the sell. Amazon, it's coming back pretty deep. I didn't expect them, so take off this entry order. Is there a chance that this thing comes back more deep to make a much long drawn out running flat? I don't see that one coming for a much long drawn out running flat. So we'll have to wait. Could this be the top of it? The next question I think we should ask, could that be the top of the structure and we're totally going down because we complete the flat? The flat pattern is completed. We make a new high. We do have divergence, which is something we didn't look at. We have a lot of divergence here. What if that is the top and you're actually starting a much bigger correction now? Okay, let's see. That is possible because you broke the top, right? So if this is going to start a much deeper correction, and that is all the impulse you get to the upside, we'll wait here until it gives us a flag. This would be your first impulse down. This could also be a running flat. See this? This could also be a running flat for upside. So how would we trade the running flat? It goes up back, it make a flag here, you buy. If they consolidate here, we're selling. You definitely want to sell if it consolidates because that means that you're making a much, much bigger correction to the downside. Right? Then the first impulse of that correction is going to be huge because we just finished a very big flat. We broke the top. If that's all, if it's not going more, wait for a correction here. I thought it's going to be a bigger impulse, right? We're looking for an impulse that is equal to the previous impulse. That is the size of this. But it could be that that's it. They broke the top and that's it. You're not going anymore. So wait for the flag that more of a correction, something like this, that would confirm downside. Okay. This is still going sideways. Take that out. It is going to go up, sideways and up. I don't think we have a big drop here. You can see they're trying to go back up here. So if this goes back up here, it will be more like a flat at this point, a running flat. Probably go back there and then you get a drop. Right, this would be the drop here. So that's a running flat forming for a downside. Reliance, look for more sells. It doesn't matter. Don't try to buy it here. Wait for them to drop back to this level. Then look for the buy. So I think it's still going to drop today. Wait for that drop. What if it keeps going up? Well, you'll have to let it go as a sharp impulse here and then make a correction before you start buying. Because anywhere within this range is possible it can drop. PayPal, that's what PayPal is doing. It's also in a correction. It's at the top of the correction, so you're in a sell. That was a sell setup. You're getting another sell setup, and you might get a number sell setup before you get to the low, but it's in a corrective structure. So this is 1, that is 2, and we're coming down for the 3. Look for sell setups. It might get more complex than that, which means this might not be the impulse going down, but you still sell it. We'll see whether this is a corrective structure going down. Bitcoin. Yep, it's still consolidating. You're still in this consolidation. I'm leaving these patterns on to see how they play out and how they change, so you can see how it will change if it changes or whether it play out the way we expect it. It's still consolidating here. I can still see them probably doing this, but then eventually you'll have to do that. This goes up and then come back down. So as of now, we will leave it like this, and then we'll see how that changes. And the 1 hour, do you have a buy setup? Well, you might. No, we haven't broken the low, so there is no buy setup here. Even if this goes up, this is the low point. See, you have to make a sharp move, a flag, and go. Not this. When you make that, what you have there is a more likely a 1, 2, 3. This is going to come back here, but that is a flat for downside. The downside is limited, which means they're just going to break this low, reverse, make a flag, and go up. So you want this buy, the sell. You can consider the sell. It's not a big one. But if you can get in and get out, that's okay. It can come lower and then go back up. Most likely they may or may, I don't think they'll break this low, but it's possible they can break the low for a running flat. I don't think we're going to have a running flat, so we might not break this low. We might just come down a little more and then go back up. The upside is what you want. The risk to reward is on the upside. These little moves down will not give you very good risk to reward on them. XRP. Very similar structure. You can already see that. You're making new lows. And I think we're actually trying to make an upside here, right? So you've got an impulse. If this stays within this range here, you can look for that up move. And then you can expect that to break out and go more to the top, right? You can expect this to break out, make a 1, 2, 3, go back to the top, give you this flat. So you can look for that upside. Every buy setup is a good one, even if it becomes a flat for one more down, which means if you get this buy and it only comes here and go down one more, you can get break even out of that trade. Right? Let's assume they go there, they come one more down, and then they decide to go. You can still get break even out of that trade. Look for buy setups here too. I think they may be turning. This could become a flat and downside, but you'll get out for break even. Right now, there's a high probability of this going up. All of them have the similar structure, except for this. This is more downside still. That is a correction for more downside. ETH, more downside. This is a correction for more downside. See, we're coming to break this low. So this is a bigger correction here. You can actually see that big correction. It's a running flat. So this would probably come down more. You're going to make a small flag here, drop, break this low, and then go back up. We have to break the low. How far beyond the low we go? It's not, it could come quite a lot here and then go back up. So you're looking for sell setups, and you actually have a sell setup here right now. You're getting a small flag for a sell. Dash. We're going sideways. All of them have this same structure, and they all have this kind of flat pattern here. See this? Which means it's a little more downside. This could probably come a little more down, but the big picture, you're looking for this move up eventually. Right? So a little more down, but then up. You can ignore the sell, go for the buy when you get the setup for the buy. This is a sharp one, but we don't have anything with it. This came down low, so you would expect a running flat here. I'd expect this to go back up there, make a running flat, come down one more, and then go. Right? This is correcting. It could come lower. They might even break this low here and then go back up. So wait for this upside. Wait, you can go for the buy, then look for the sell. You're coming downwards, and then we'll see where it goes from there. If you trade this, same thing. It's downside, but eventually you're going to break out because this is a sharp move. This is going slow. Eventually it's going to break out. And you have the same structure on most of them. See? You have the sharp moves. If you put this up here. This is coming down, so this could be a running flat actually. So if you get a flag there for a sell, you can go for the trade. If you get a correction here, go for the sell setup. LTC, also coming down within an impulse. This is a single impulse, so you're coming down within this. If you get a flag, it's going to do this, and then eventually you look for that trade. So you can wait for this to break and go for that trade. ADA. I don't know if anybody trade this. Same, all of them have the same structure. They're coming down slowly within a corrective structure, but eventually they're going to go up. The sharp move will be to the upside. That is an impulse to complete. So keep an eye on that. Okay, guys, that's about it. So I think we've actually gone through most of the charts, all of them. Some of them might have incorrect information for the last 4 hours. If it's an FXCM chart, please change it and watch the pattern. So if you manage to come to the end and you like what you see, please share it, help others to see it. I would see all of you from YouTube next week. If you like it, you can leave your comment. You can click a like on the chart. You can subscribe to get more notification when I do trades. Maybe this week, because of the FXCM chart, maybe this week sometime Wednesday, so I'll give another update when I change all from FXCM to the other providers. I'll probably give you guys another update on the chart. So set your subscription, set your notification to get it when it's out. Thank you for watching. I would see all of you next week. I will see my traders in the trading room as soon as we close, right? So I'll stop the live stream.